Hey, what is up guys, back here with another video today. I am going to be teaching you how to make a very balanced system under $700. So, without any further ado, let's get straight into it. So, before we start, we have to open two websites that I can personally trust. First is Newegg and Amazon.com. And you can go to other third-party retailers, but these are the ones that I really trust a lot. Also, for the $700, we can go 5% more than what we have on the budget right now. So we can go up to $735, so that's adding 5% more than what we have. Obviously, we can go down in budget if we need to, and obviously, we're going to try to do it, but if we can't do it, we're going to top out at $735. So, without any further ado, let's get straight into the build. So the first thing that we want to do is choose our CPU. So the first thing that we want to do is choose our CPU manufacturer. We have Intel and AMD Ryzen. Obviously, I'll be going with AMD Ryzen because it has more or higher core clocks, more cores, more threads, cheaper, and more backward compatibility. So if you want to upgrade your CPU down the line, you can with the same motherboard, which is actually really great. So obviously, we will be going with AMD Ryzen. So since we have gotten Ryzen, we want to choose a CPU that has a decent amount of cores and threads. So let's go to Amazon and type in, let's say, Ryzen 5 2600. So this obviously has 6 cores and 12 threads, which is actually pretty good, and it has a pretty good stock cooler. So we can find this for $204 on Amazon. Now we want to go to Newegg.com and search the exact same thing up, and we actually find it for $3 cheaper. So let's choose that and keep this on the list. So since we have just chosen a Ryzen 5 2600, we want to choose a really balanced GPU so we don't lose any performance on the table. So since Nvidia is very overpriced for their budget GPUs, we will choose a Radeon GPU. So going to Amazon.com and searching for Radeon 580, we will see a lot of options. So same thing if we go to Newegg and search for the exact same thing, we will also see a lot of options. So the first thing that we see on Amazon is the XFX 5800. And let me tell you, on Radeon 580, we will not find a graphics card that has a memory of GDDR6, which is the newest gen. But since this is a really old, or not old, but just older design GPU, we will not find it. So looking at the XFX Radeon RX on Amazon and on Newegg, we do have it a bit more expensive on Newegg. So we will go for Amazon.com. And this is not in stock yet, so we will still have to wait. But before we decide on this exact same graphics card, we want to choose or look at others. So on Amazon.com, we can see Sapphire, we can see MSI. I will not choose MSI because they don't have great coolers on especially the old GPUs, and since the PCB is like actually exposed almost on every side, I will not choose that right now. So going down the list, we do see XFX, Asus. Asus is a really good brand for almost everything that you can buy. So going right here, it does look pretty good and looks pretty compelling to me. So this does have one HDMI, one DisplayPort, one VGA, actually 2 DVI, and just ventilation slots. So let's go to Newegg and just go down the list if we can find it. So on Newegg, we did eventually find it right now, and it is out of stock. But you can always notify yourself or click the notification button just so you can get notified when it is in stock. So when it comes to choosing memory these days, we want to go or try to hit 16 gigs of memory. But since we have a pretty tight budget, we will try to go 16 gigs, but we might have to step down to 12 or maybe even 8 gigs of memory. So let's get straight into that. So looking both at Amazon and Newegg.com for 16 gigs of memory, the best one that I can find on both, actually on Amazon, was the Corsair Vengeance 16 gigs kit, which is actually pretty good, hitting the exact same sweet $70 mark which I personally would choose if I were you. Plus it has really good reviews, 5-star for 58,000 reviews, which is actually really reliable. So now we want to choose our storage for our system. So obviously we cannot choose NVMe SSD because those are just way more expensive, and we don't want to choose hard drives because, well, they're just way too slow for modern day games and almost everything else. So we will have to go with SATA SSDs. So I looked on Newegg and Amazon, and the best one that I can find was the Samsung 860 EVO on Newegg itself. So right here, it is a 500 gig storage for $54, which is actually really good. Especially this is from Samsung. And I personally am using a Samsung NVMe SSD, which is much faster than normal SATA SSDs. Now let's put the Samsung 860 EVO in our parts list. So to store all of that, we need a motherboard that can actually support our CPU, GPU, RAM, and SSD. So right here we have the ASRock X570 Phantom Gaming that it's under $140, which is actually really good. Plus this has 8 USBs, 1 HDMI, 1 gigabit, and 3 audio ports, which is actually really good for a motherboard under $140. So now we have to choose a case to store everything, including the motherboard and everything else that is necessary for our system to run. So personally, I will go for a Corsair case because they're very reliable and they don't have a lot of RGB like almost every other case in the market. So this is the case that I have right now, and this is the Corsair 275R Airflow, which is actually really good and comes at a good price of $80. This has 2 fans in the front and 1 fan in the back for nice airflow. Powering everything in the system, we need a power supply. So our graphics card would need at least a 500 watt power supply. Obviously, we will want to go just a bit above that just to make sure our system doesn't fail on us. So the best one that I found on Amazon.com and Newegg.com was on Amazon, which was the Corsair Semi-Modular 550 watt power supply, which is okay, but I would like to see a modular one, but for this price, I will not say anything about it. So this is the last thing that we will add to the list. After adding everything up from here, we get a total price of $837, which is a bit too much for our liking. So we will have to downgrade our GPU by a little bit and decrease the storage from our SSD just by a little bit too to lower down the price. And hopefully not, but we might have to lower down the capacity of our RAM. So looking on Amazon and Newegg.com for a Radeon 560, the best one that I could find was a Boystar overclocked to, this, and a price of $129, which is not the best, but for our budget, this is what we can afford. So now let's add this to the list and let's see what the price becomes. After adding that to the list, we do get a total of $752, which is not the best, but let's try to lower it down to $735 if possible. So now let's decrease the storage of our SSD. So looking both on Newegg and Amazon.com for an SSD, I found the best one on Amazon.com, which was from ADATA with 240 gigs of SSD storage for only $26, which is actually pretty good compared to on Newegg, which was the same exact company for 120 gigs of storage with only $25, which is pretty bad compared to Amazon. So we will choose this at the end for our SSD. So we finally did it and hit something under $735 by decreasing the SSD and the GPU, and it worked out. So the total price now is $726, which is actually really good. So if you want to check out any of these parts, I'll be linking them right below the like button if you want to check them out and build a machine on your own. Anyways guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you love this video, smash the subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss a single video of mine. Plus, follow me on my Twitter account. It's going to be linked right below the like button to get updates on the next video, and more coming very soon. Anyways guys, that's going to be it for this video. Peace.